Welcome to Gents Grove, and happy 2025. In a world full of noise, power lies in silence and strategy. Sigma males are the quiet disruptors, the ones who don't conform to society's expectations, yet command respect without demanding it. If you're someone who values independence, self-respect, and emotional strength, chances are you're walking the Sigma path. But let's face it, toxic people are everywhere, trying to drag you into their chaos. Whether it's manipulative colleagues, energy-draining relationships, or attention-hungry acquaintances, they feed off your reactions and control. But here's the thing about Sigma males: they don't play by the same rules. Instead of engaging with toxic people, they flip the script in ways that are not only effective, but transformative. They turn manipulation into meaningless chatter and drama into an empty stage. This isn't about aggression or avoidance. It's about mastering your emotions and turning challenges into opportunities. Watch closely as we break down 10 shocking ways Sigma males handle toxicity. These aren't just strategies, they're life lessons for anyone ready to reclaim their power. Your next level of self-mastery starts here. Let's get started, gents. Number 1. Using brutal honesty as a shield. Toxic people thrive in environments where they can manipulate, deceive, and twist the truth to fit their agenda. They rely on the ambiguity of half-truths, half-baked compliments, and indirect attacks to keep their power. Sigma males, however, bring a brutal weapon to the table: unfiltered honesty. While others might tiptoe around feelings or sugarcoat their words to avoid conflict, Sigmas speak the truth as it is, no matter how uncomfortable or inconvenient it may be. This directness doesn't just neutralize the toxicity, it exposes it. For example, if someone tries to guilt-trip a Sigma with a backhanded comment like, "I guess I'm the only one who cares about this," the Sigma might respond with, "You've been acting like it's all on you, but we all have our own responsibilities here." That's not an attack. It's a truth that shatters the manipulator's illusion. Brutal honesty strips away the facades toxic people hide behind. It forces them to either own their behavior or reveal their insecurities. A Sigma male doesn't need to shout or argue. They just say what needs to be said and let the toxic person squirm. This candidness often creates discomfort in the manipulator because they're no longer able to hide behind vague statements or emotional games. What's even more powerful is that this directness doesn't invite retaliation, it neutralizes it. Instead of escalating the conflict, Sigmas force the manipulator to confront themselves. The more they try to deflect or make excuses, the more their own insecurities are laid bare. Over time, the toxic person learns that their usual tactics won't work and may either change their behavior or simply move on to someone more easily manipulated. Brutal honesty doesn't just expose the truth, it brings clarity, resets the dynamic, and turns the tables on those who thrive on deception and ambiguity. Sigmas wield it as a shield, forcing toxic individuals to face their own flaws while remaining unscathed. Number 2. Nonchalant success as revenge. Toxic people thrive on pulling others down, either through belittling comments, subtle sabotage, or outright attempts to diminish someone's success. They expect their negativity to derail progress and get a rise out of their target. Sigma males, however, have a unique way of handling this. Instead of retaliating or trying to prove a point, they simply excel in silence. They do what they do best, focusing on their own growth and achievements without the need for validation or attention. The beauty of this approach lies in its understated power. Sigmas don't need to announce their success, flaunt their accomplishments, or seek recognition. They go about their work with quiet determination, outpacing toxic individuals who thought they could interfere or disrupt. As their achievements accumulate, they serve as a silent but undeniable form of revenge. Every milestone reached is a reminder to the toxic person that their attempts to undermine someone have been nothing but wasted effort. What makes this so devastating for the toxic individual is that it takes away their ability to control the narrative. They expected a dramatic confrontation, an emotional outburst, or a desperate defense. Instead, they're left watching someone they tried to sabotage quietly rise, their success speaking volumes without the need for a single word. In a way, the Sigma's nonchalant success becomes a form of revenge far more powerful than any confrontation could ever be. The toxic person is left scrambling, trying to keep up with someone who isn't even paying attention to them. It's a subtle yet savage reminder that toxic behavior has no place in a world where quiet excellence takes center stage. Gentlemen, thank you for being part of Gents Grove community. You are valued. At number 3, outlasting the storm. Dealing with toxic people can feel like being caught in a relentless storm. They push, prod, and provoke, constantly looking for a crack in your composure to exploit. Most people either fight back and get tangled in their web or retreat completely to avoid the chaos. But Sigma males take a different approach. They outlast the storm. Sigmas understand that toxic people thrive on reactions. The louder or more emotional the response, the more fuel they get. Knowing this, Sigmas refuse to play along. They don't argue, don't over-explain, and don't try to prove their point to someone who's clearly operating in bad faith. Instead, they stay calm and let the toxic person run out of steam. This isn't about avoidance or passivity. It's about strategy. Sigmas have mastered the art of patience, knowing that most toxic individuals eventually unravel under the weight of their own behavior. The more their attempts to provoke fall flat, the more desperate and erratic they become. A Sigma male's steady, unwavering presence serves as a mirror, reflecting the toxic person's own dysfunction back at them. By refusing to engage, Sigmas also conserve their energy and focus for what truly matters. They don't waste time on pointless arguments or emotional battles they've already won by not participating. Their silence and calm demeanor are weapons in themselves, making the toxic person feel powerless and frustrated. In the end, Sigmas understand that time exposes everything. Toxic people either burn out from their own negativity or alienate themselves completely. By outlasting the storm, Sigmas not only protect their peace, but also demonstrate the strength of resilience and self-control, a lesson anyone can learn and admire. Number 4, flipping weaknesses into power. Toxic people love to label others, often turning strengths into perceived weaknesses as a way to undermine confidence. They might accuse you of being too independent, too quiet, or too unemotional, hoping to plant seeds of self-doubt. But Sigma males have a unique ability to flip these so-called weaknesses into undeniable power. They don't just shrug off insults, they own them and transform them into traits worth celebrating. When a toxic person accuses a Sigma male of being too independent, it's a clear attempt to make them feel isolated or selfish. Instead, a Sigma reframes it. Independence is their strength, a sign of their ability to thrive without relying on others for validation. The toxic person's attempt to diminish their self-sufficiency becomes irrelevant because it's rooted in insecurity and control. Similarly, being called too quiet isn't a flaw. It's a testament to their thoughtfulness and deliberate nature. Sigma males understand that silence often holds more power than noise. Toxic people might label this trait as aloofness or weakness, but Sigmas see it for what it is, an advantage that keeps others guessing and protects their energy from unnecessary drama. Even being described as unemotional becomes a strength in the Sigma mindset. Rather than being swayed by manipulation or guilt, they view their emotional control as a shield against toxic behavior. This ability to stay calm under pressure frustrates toxic individuals who depend on emotional chaos to gain the upper hand. By flipping insults into badges of honor, Sigma males render toxic accusations powerless. It's not just about ignoring negativity, it's about reframing it into something that reinforces their identity. In doing so, they not only neutralize the toxic person's tactics, but also solidify their own sense of self-worth. Number 5. Neutralizing through emotional apathy. Number 6. Turning passive aggression into a mirror. Passive-aggressive behavior is one of the most frustrating forms of toxicity. It's subtle, indirect, and often cloaked in plausible deniability. Most people either ignore it, which lets the behavior continue, or confront it directly, which can escalate the situation. Sigma males take a different approach. They turn passive aggression into a mirror, reflecting it back in a way that forces the toxic person to confront their own tactics. This isn't about playing games or stooping to the same level. It's about exposing the behavior without making it obvious. For instance, If someone makes a backhanded compliment like, "It must be nice to have so much free time to work on your hobbies," a Sigma might reply with a calm, "It is nice. You should try it sometime." The response is neutral but layered, subtly highlighting the passive aggression while refusing to take the bait. By reflecting the behavior, Sigmas disrupt the toxic person's rhythm. Passive-aggressive individuals rely on ambiguity and the hope that their target will either get flustered or overreact. When faced with a Sigma's calm, mirrored response, they're left off balance, unsure if their tactic was even understood or if they've just been subtly called out. This psychological judo forces the toxic person to second-guess their approach. Over time, they either abandon the behavior because it's ineffective or reveal their true intentions in frustration. Either way, the Sigma maintains their composure while dismantling the manipulation without direct confrontation. By refusing to engage emotionally and instead reflecting the behavior, Sigmas set a standard of accountability without ever having to say it outright. It's a quiet, calculated strategy that leaves toxic individuals questioning themselves and the effectiveness of their methods. Number 7. Strategic withdrawal to starve the fire. Toxic people thrive in environments where they can dominate conversations, control narratives, and provoke reactions. They rely on constant engagement to keep their manipulative tactics effective. Sigma males, however, have a different way of handling these dynamics: strategic withdrawal. Instead of fighting or arguing, they simply remove themselves from the equation, leaving the toxic person floundering in their absence. This isn't about running away or avoiding confrontation. It's a calculated move. Sigmas understand that engaging with toxic individuals often fuels their behavior. By stepping back, they deprive them of the attention, reactions, and validation they desperately seek. It's like extinguishing a fire by cutting off its oxygen. When a Sigma withdraws, they don't make a big announcement or dramatic exit. They simply fade into the background, leaving an unsettling silence in their place. Toxic people, who depend on an audience to validate their antics, suddenly find themselves shouting into a void. Without anyone to manipulate or provoke, their influence starts to wane, and their attempts at control become increasingly ineffective. This tactic also serves another purpose. It allows Sigmas to maintain their emotional and mental energy. Rather than wasting time in futile battles, they use this space to focus on their own priorities, regaining clarity and control over their environment. The beauty of strategic withdrawal is its subtlety. It sends a powerful message without words. You don't control me, and I refuse to play your game. Over time, the toxic individual either changes their behavior out of frustration or moves on to someone more reactive. Either way, the Sigma emerges untouched, proving that sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Number 8. Subtle yet savage boundaries. Sigma males are masters of subtlety, especially when it comes to boundaries. Unlike most people who feel the need to announce their limits, Sigmas don't need to make a big fuss about where they draw the line. They simply enforce it through actions, and the consequences are felt far more profoundly than any spoken words could achieve. When a toxic person pushes or oversteps, a Sigma doesn't raise their voice or engage in a dramatic confrontation. Instead, they take a quiet step back, withdraw their energy, or disengage from the situation altogether. This subtle shift in behavior is the true boundary setting. It's not a threat or warning, just a calm and confident indication that the toxic person is no longer receiving the attention, validation, or engagement they once expected. The beauty of this approach is in its quiet potency. A Sigma's boundaries aren't a negotiation, they're an unspoken law. The toxic individual might initially try to press further, but without the usual emotional or verbal cues, they quickly realize that their efforts are futile. The absence of engagement can be more unnerving than a confrontation because it forces the toxic person to reckon with their own behavior. The true power lies in the consequence, the silent treatment. Once a Sigma withdraws, the toxic person feels the emptiness, the loss of influence, and the disconnection. That's when the impact hits hardest. The toxic individual has no way to manipulate or control the situation anymore, and they're left questioning their approach and, eventually, themselves. By enforcing boundaries without words, Sigma males don't just protect their peace, they force others to respect it without having to explain, argue, or justify. The silent consequence is far more devastating than any verbal confrontation could ever be. Number 9. Turning gossip into a trap. When toxic people resort to gossip, they often do it with the intent to stir drama, manipulate perceptions, or weaken others by spreading lies or half-truths. Most people, when confronted with gossip, try to defend themselves or directly challenge the rumors. Sigma males, however, take a much more calculated approach. They don't react immediately. They listen, observe, and quietly gather information, knowing that silence is often the best weapon in situations like these. Rather than getting tangled in the emotional response that gossip is designed to provoke, Sigmas calmly allow the gossiper to dig their own hole. They take mental notes, noting the inconsistencies, the exaggerations, and the underlying motives behind the gossip. This is key to their strategy. They understand that gossip often reveals more about the gossiper than the subject of the rumors. What's even more effective is how Sigmas flip the script. When the time is right, they subtly shine a light on the hypocrisy or contradictions in the gossiper's words or actions. For example, if someone is talking behind a colleague's back about their work ethic, a Sigma might, in a completely nonchalant way, bring up a past situation where the gossiper was caught slacking or undermining others. They don't make a big deal of it. They simply drop the truth into the conversation like an unexpected bombshell. By doing this, Sigmas don't just defend themselves, they turn the tables. The gossiper, who was attempting to harm or manipulate, now finds themselves exposed. The gossip no longer has the power to damage the Sigma because they've turned it into evidence of the gossiper's own character flaws. This isn't about escalating the situation. It's about taking the high ground, letting the gossip unfold, and then revealing the undeniable truth in a way that leaves the gossiper no room to deny or deflect. In doing so, Sigmas make it clear that gossip and manipulation will never work on them. Instead, it becomes a trap, one that the toxic person has set for themselves. Number 10. Decoding manipulation in real time. Sigma males possess a rare skill, the ability to decode manipulation in real time. Toxic people often try to slip in their tactics under the radar, using charm, guilt, or subtle pressure to manipulate others without being noticed. Most people get caught in the web of these behaviors, unsure of what's happening until it's too late. Sigmas, however, have an intuitive sense that allows them to detect these toxic patterns the instant they occur. Instead of waiting for the manipulation to escalate or reacting with frustration, a Sigma male calmly calls out the behavior in a way that's almost imperceptible. For instance, if someone is trying to guilt-trip them with a statement like, "I guess I'm the only one who cares about this," the Sigma might respond with, "It's interesting how often you bring that up. Are you trying to guilt me into something?" The key is that it's said without anger, without confrontation, and without drama, just a simple, direct acknowledgement of what's happening. This subtle recognition is powerful because it immediately exposes the manipulator's tactics, often leaving them scrambling for a response. The toxic person can't hide behind their usual methods when they're called out mid-flow, and because it's done so calmly, it forces them to confront their behavior without making a scene. What's more, by pointing out the manipulation in real time, Sigmas take control of the conversation without raising their voice or making it into a confrontation. It's a quiet but effective way of rendering the toxic person's tactics useless, leaving them with no choice but to either back down or show their true colors. This technique prevents escalation, diffuses the situation, and ensures the manipulator knows they've been exposed without the Sigma ever losing composure. As I conclude, in the end, Sigma males don't need to fight fire with fire. They don't need to shout, engage in petty drama, or play the same toxic games. Instead, they stay true to themselves, calmly dismantling the manipulations of toxic people without raising a finger. Their power comes from within, from the strength to stay composed, from the clarity to see through games, and from the wisdom to recognize that they don't need validation from anyone, especially not those trying to control or undermine them. Sigma males flip the script because they know their worth doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion. They understand that the best way to deal with toxic people is to stay above it, using tactics like emotional detachment, strategic withdrawal, and brutal honesty to expose their manipulations. It's about recognizing that toxic people are weak, and they only have power if you give it to them. Sigmas take it back, not through confrontation, but through an unwavering focus on their own growth and success. So if you found yourself nodding along to these traits, chances are you're a Sigma male, or you have the potential to be. The world is full of people trying to pull others down, but Sigma males stand strong, unshaken by the chaos around them. If you're ready to rise above, to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who understand the value of independence, strength, and mental clarity, then it's time to join the Gents Grove. Stand tall with those who know the true power of being unapologetically yourself. See you in our next video, gents. God bless you.